It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, October 2nd to Saturday, October 8th. So last week we had our new moon in Libra, kicking off Libra season, kicking off the equinox energy and creating a lot of darkness around where it is that we are living in extremes, where we feel a little bit crazy, where we feel a little bit chaotic, where the confusion has been, in order for us to try to achieve balance. Of course, that new moon in Libra definitely illuminated for us where it is that we feel lonely and isolated in our lives, because this Libran energy wants us to connect with relationships, wants us to reach out and be with like-minded people. It also definitely put a huge emphasis on some of the struggles that we're having, accepting the circumstances, accepting the terms through the tough love life lessons that have been definitely thrown our way. Those karmic events are really hard to make peace with, but of course now in Libran energy, we are attempting to accept life as it is and not for the way we wished it would be. Acceptance is the first step in us getting on with our lives, in us aligning with a new path, with a new mission. And now that we are definitely in this new cycle and season, we have to wrap up the loose ends of the past in order for us to be okay with this present moment, whether you're happy about it or not, in order for us to actually plan and move forward. We wrapped up the last week of September. That, of course, brought us the lessons in 9, which was endings and completions and bringing things full circle in order for us to prepare for a brand new cycle, season, and adventure. And of course, October is going to do just that for us. We had Venus move out of Virgo energy into its place of power in Libra just yesterday. And many of us are feeling the lighter vibrations, the lighter frequencies. We are slowly but surely shaking that funk off of us. And we are definitely starting to see where things are getting a little bit more positive, a little bit more hopeful, and definitely a lot less heavy. Now that we are in Libra season, we have Venus in Libra energy. We are trying to find peace and harmony and balance in our lives. We are moving out of what has been a very tough Earth energy dominant cycle. And we are just trying to kind of stay in the shallow end, focus on the small things that bring us happiness and pleasure and joy, and just try to stay as upbeat and positive as possible. And of course, we are jumping into October here tomorrow. If you're listening to me live Friday night, I want to thank you for being here. But I also just want to say that we have a huge shift going on from today's energy into tomorrow's energy, where jumping into a new life lesson is concerned. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, what October is going to bring for us. But first, let's cover what this week is going to focus on in the stars, in the cosmos. First of all, we start October. Brings a new lesson for us. It brings a lesson in the number 1, where new beginnings, where new cycles are initiated, where new beginnings and chapters and seasons and cycles begin. Granted, that is according to the normal calendar, let's say. And when we take a look at the astrological calendar, October is actually the 8th month, which is death, rebirth, renewal, and transformation. October is definitely going to bring us all of those things. We have Mercury going direct here on the 2nd. Thank freaking goodness, at 24 degrees in Virgo energy. And as much as we would like to think that things are going to take a huge leap forward when Mercury goes direct, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we gain the kind of clarity that we were hoping for. Reason being, Mercury going direct is in a opposition with Neptune in a retrograde in Pisces, which is kind of fogging up the path moving forward. It's like we're blindfolded, walking through this new path, this new direction. We want to move forward just for the sake of moving forward, but we haven't really focused in on the details. We're not seeing clearly. We will not see clearly until Mercury actually moves into Libra, which we'll talk about here in a second, and that I talk a lot more in depth about in October's energy forecast. We also have the first quarter moon taking place in Capricorn energy, also on the 2nd. So we have Mercury going direct in Virgo energy. We have the moon reaching its first action point since the new moon in Libra in Capricorn energy, which is also in Earth energy, also a manifesting energy, which means that whatever it is that we've been divided on, whatever it is that we've been torn about, whatever it is that we've been debating between, we will actually gain a little bit of clarity, enough to actually make a decision in line with a path and a direction moving forward. This is our first action point, our first aha moment in the cycle that has been very long, very confusing, very drawn out, but we're finally willing to take a step forward. And then on Saturday, the 8th, we have Pluto going direct. So Pluto, the great transformer himself, has been retrograde for the past 5.5 months. The retrograde energy was taking us on an inner exploration of our fears, of our pain, of our trauma, not to paralyze us, but to inspire us, to motivate us, to push us into our placement of power and strength, for us to boss up, take control over our lives, and realize that every single time we gave other people control over our lives, that it didn't fare so well for us. Hopefully, we won't make the same mistakes again. But Pluto coming out of a retrograde and going direct means that we're able to actually start moving the pieces around in our external realm to match what it is we've already arrived at in our inner realm. And a lot of this has to do with building new foundations, new systems, new structures, so that we don't have to rely on other people, so that we don't have to give other people our power, so that we don't have to depend on other people. And a lot of this, especially from a collective perspective, is about becoming a little bit more independent with our own resources, not having to rely on grocery stores, not having to rely on the government, not relying on healthcare in order to tell us how to be, how to act, and how to heal ourselves. But individually speaking, this is a huge boss up in the roles and responsibilities in our lives that many of us have been running away from. Because when you take 100% control and power in your life, then your failures are your fault. Your disappointments are your fault. If you do not do well, there's nobody else to blame but yourself. And that's the only perk that we had in the past of giving our power away, giving our control away to everybody else, is that when things didn't work out, we had somebody to blame. That circus is over. We have to stand in our power, in our sovereignty, take control and accountability for ourselves, for our actions, for our destiny, and stop letting other people have a starring role in our own freaking lives. So although I will go more into depth about the aspects that follow into the second, maybe the third week, let's say, of October, what we're building towards is the full moon in Aries on the 9th. So we have Pluto going direct on the 8th. We have the full moon in Aries on the 9th. And then we have Mercury moving into Libra on the 10th. So it is going to be a jam-packed, filled weekend next weekend. And let me just say that as we move throughout this week, because we're in Libra season, we are going to be illuminated to the unfairness, the injustices, the chaos, the confusion, the craziness in order for us to achieve peace and harmony and balance. And even more than that, the full moon in Aries will be in alignment with Chiron, the wounded healer. And this is going to be a huge illumination, a huge release, a huge purge of anger, of frustration, of irritation. All of our wounds, all of our insecurities, our pain, our trauma gets ripped wide open for us to let it all out, get it out of our physical body. Why? Because harboring that energy in our physical form right now is blocking us from manifesting new elements, blocking us from actually moving forward. The full moon in Aries is going to rewind us to the spring when we entered into Aries season and started this brand new astrological calendar, and highlight for us the challenges that we've had to face, the survival that we've had to tap into, the frustrations, the irritations, the anger, the rage of not having the ability to move as fast as we would like, to take control over the aspects that we feel powerless under. There's going to be a lot of friction. Now, keep in mind, Libran energy is very dualistic. We have to sit in the extremes. We have to sit in those polarized energies in order to find a happy medium, in order to find a grounding point. But you best believe that as much as we would like to stay in the shallow realm, avoid the deep end altogether of the pool, especially of the emotional field in Libran energy, we aren't going to have much of a choice but to acknowledge the anger that Libra energy goes so freaking hard to try and mask under the full moon in Aries being activated by Chiron. Definitely look out this week for when that moon guide drops, but just be prepared that we are moving into a week where, yes, there are going to be some shifts. Yes, we are moving forward. Yes, the energy is propelling us to make some changes, but we still feel blocked. We still feel restricted. And that in itself creates a lot of frustration in us that needs to come to a boiling point, that needs to come to a release, that needs to come to a purge point under the full moon in Aries. So we also have the last degrees of Mercury being in Virgo. So just a reminder, at 24 degrees in Virgo, when Mercury first goes direct, that takes us back to pretty much the last week of August. And up until the 17th of October, we are still retracing our steps from when Mercury first went retrograde. And on the 17th is when we will come to its post-shadow period being over, when Mercury finally gets up to snuff, finally gets up to speed. And then we're in brand new territory. But up until then, we're still trying to reflect back, to revise, to retrace our steps, to redo some things, to repair some things up until the 17th of October. So we still have to have a little bit of patience within ourselves, within the process. And of course, we don't have patience at this particular point of the cycle in the season, and thus why we are going to have a lot of anger, frustration, and irritation to be released under the full moon in Aries. So that is kind of the summary of the energy that we're moving out of and the energy that we're waiting to move into. I do have a couple of things that I want to talk about, want to chat about, want to rant about before I jump into the Ascension symptoms. The first thing I want to talk about is, first and foremost, I want to thank each and every single one of you for the love, for the support, for the likes, for the share, for the comments, for being here, for being in the live chat, for interacting, spending your time and energy with me each and every single time you tune into one of these forecasts. What I also want to thank you for is for the love and concern that so many of you showed my way, especially in light of the hurricane that we absolutely got beat down under last weekend. So if you were in the chat with me last weekend, you would know that my internet was a little bit spotty. I wasn't as involved with the chat as I usually am because I just did not have the internet support in order to keep up with the conversation. Shortly after the live ended, it was about 11:30, almost midnight. I did lose power, and the storm actually didn't even hit us directly until Saturday. So it was a terrifying time. Me and my babies, my dogs, we locked ourselves in the small room here downstairs and had no idea what we were going to open the door up to when the storm was over. It was around 125 to 137 kilometer winds hitting the house here. And by some freaking miracle, I don't know if it's the, magic that I put out in the cosmos or if it was all you wonderful, beautiful souls sending me love and protection, but I had no damage whatsoever. There's literally 2 trees down on my property. They fell off into the woods. They weren't obstructing my driveway. I don't even have to clean them up. There was no remnants of a hurricane even hitting in my area. Now, the minute that I left my property, there was complete and absolute destruction and devastation, so much to the fact that my father still does not have power. I didn't get power back until like Monday, and even then it's been off and on and very shaky. We've lost power as they've tried to regenerate other people on the grid. It's been an absolute shit show. And I want to thank you for the love and support. I want to thank you for the messages. I want to thank you for your concern. I've never felt so freaking loved and so cared about than, seeing all these beautiful souls just be totally concerned with my health and wellness through this hurricane. Now, this hurricane absolutely devastated people's homes, people's lives. The destruction is still ongoing. The cleanup is still ongoing. And then to see how Hurricane Ian impacted Florida is absolutely just heartbreaking to me, because I can't imagine having a more intense situation than the one that I just lived through. And then to see some of the pictures and some of the damage and destruction that Florida is currently dealing with is just absolutely heartbreaking. So to any and all of you out there who are impacted by any of these storms or any of the situations of quote unquote natural disasters, because I don't think they're natural at all, I absolutely just share my heart with you. I send you my love. I send you my protection. And I thank you so much for sending the love and protection and concern my way as well. Now, because I was out of power for 3-4 days, because I did not have internet, I am totally behind. And usually the last week of a month and going into a new month is my busiest time. I have a whole bunch of clients that I have to do monthly forecasts for. I have to do all the zodiac forecasts, my normal daily content, my live chat, the October energy forecasts, all the different astro forecasts. And usually on a normal month, the last week of the month is absolutely cray-cray for me. I did not count on not having 3-4 business days to do my work. And so because of that, I have been really busting my butt these last couple days to try and make up for lost time. I did get all of my client forecasts out. So if you are a monthly forecast subscriber, I'm going to ask that you check your inbox, because you should have your reading portal access sent to you in that inbox. If you do not see it, please let me know, because my internet is still very unstable, very unshaky, and I want to make sure that you get what it is that I have promised to you. As for my zodiac forecast that I usually have out, a day or two before the brand new month hits, and I usually have my astro forecast, energy forecast intro out before a new month hits, I am going to ask your love and your patience and your understanding that I'm a little bit delayed on that. If you hear it in my voice, which I'm sure you do, and I'm super, super sorry that my voice is not up to par, but my voice is absolutely killing me, because I've really been pushing myself to try and get all of these things ready and prepared and not late. One thing I want to talk about, I will have the October energy intro ready to drop here tomorrow, October 1st, but the zodiac forecast will likely take me throughout the day tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have them done by the end of the day tomorrow and uploaded. Now, I just want to talk about something just for a second, because it actually took me by surprise. I've been doing these astro forecasts. However, in September, I tried out the YouTube membership for the first time, making, my astro forecasts for all the zodiacs exclusive to paid memberships. And, thank you to those of you who subscribed and who paid for the YouTube membership. It didn't work out so well. I did terminate that as far as October goes, because YouTube is just a horrible platform. It's not where I want to hold my membership site. But last night I went ahead and I went into all those zodiac forecasts and I took them out of the membership platform and I put them public on my channel, and I went to bed. And then this morning I woke up and I had an overwhelming amount of comments from people telling me that September was over. Like, hey, don't know why you're posting this. We're moving into October. Where's October's forecast? Hey, September's over. Don't know why you're posting these. Okay, thank you so much for stating the obvious. I 100% know that September is over. I just want to explain that because the month is now over, I decided to make those paid forecasts public for everyone to listen to, for everyone to enjoy. My paid membership people, they have had access to those forecasts throughout the whole month of September. And if you weren't a paid member, you should have actually seen those particular videos pop up on your screen. And if you clicked on it, you wouldn't be able to access it. It would have prompted you to sign up to a membership in order to actually access that forecast. So the amount of people that I just couldn't believe that people felt the need to tell me that September was over. Like, I honestly thought and assumed that people would be happy to be able to have free access to something that other people had to pay for in order to listen to reflect back over their September, over their month, and see how, the energy lined up. So for those of you that felt the need to reach out and tell me that you were confused of why I was posting the September zodiac forecasts, I just want to hit this message home that I absolutely know that September's over. I 100% am preparing for October's zodiac forecasts. And if you are interested in the zodiac forecasts, I do recommend that you become a member on my Patreon, or you can wait until they're uploaded to my website and you can download them individually from my website. So I thought I was doing a good thing, and maybe it is a good thing, but the amount of people that just come at me with rudeness, with disrespect, with confusion, with audacity, that to let me know, like, hey, I don't know why you're posting this because September's over. Like, thank you for that. But I absolutely am aware of what's going on and was just trying to do something nice and feel like I created a monster by kind of making those videos public, because now I have to deal with ridiculous comments that take up too much time and space for me to address one by one. So I just thought that I would share with you that is the process. And for those of you that, were confused on that and now have clarity, that's great. I'm going to ask you to remind yourself of this when we get to October, because I will do it again. I will make those forecasts public at the end of October to, for everyone to listen and review the month. And should you be interested in staying ahead of the energy, then I do really recommend that you jump over to Patreon, you become a paid subscriber, and of course, you'll be able to access all 12 of those zodiac forecasts the minute that I upload them, which is hopefully going to be tomorrow. So I just wanted to explain that. I took a little bit of heat about it this morning. Could not believe the audacity of some people. I just needed to clarify that. You know me, I take this opportunity to rant, to rave. That being said, moving into a new month, this would be a great time for you to jump over to Patreon. Download the app. Even if you don't want to pay for a membership, download the app. You're at least going to get the notifications for every single time that I make a post and share information and content with you. That's why I terminated the YouTube membership, because the YouTube was not sending notifications to people that were paying to see my content. And that to me is a problem. I do not like that. So at least with the Patreon app, even as a free subscriber and follower to my page, at least you're going to get the notifications. There's different levels of memberships over there, depending on what you're interested in, depending on the content that you want to see. Just take a spin on over there and see what really lights you up and what excites you, and do what you feel guided to do. But this is a great time for you to subscribe to the energy guide. It's free on my website. It's like an energy dashboard. If you're ever feeling cray-cray, you can just log in. It's free. And see what's going on. See where the energy's at. See the daily vibes. See the phase of the moon. See the daily forecast. Like it's all right there for you. I have done it in order to make it a clear dashboard so that people aren't confused, so that there's a one-stop shop for us to all log into to say, hey, I'm feeling wonky. I'm feeling this way. What's going on in the cosmos? Let me log into the energy guide. Let me find out. So I'm going to recommend you do that. This is a new month, so it'd be a great time to download your energy calendar for the month. And that will help you navigate the energies and stay ahead of the game, and become a moon guide subscriber. We have the full moon in Aries taking place on the 9th. We move into eclipse season and have a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio energy at the end of the month. These are very, very important moon energies for us to get in alignment now that we're in this equinox energy and we're on an even playing field. And you know what? The moon guides are designed to do the shadow work. And that's how you do That's how you do it. You do the work. You dive deep within your psyche, within your heart space. You let the moon guide trigger and activate thoughts and ideas in you. They prompt you to move inward, asking you the deep-seated questions on why you are the way that you are and who it is that you desire to be. And this is how this is why I recommend that when people ask me, well, where do I start with my healing journey? I always say, download the moon guide, save yourself a couple of bucks, subscribe to it. You'll get all the information, the moon cycle, the manifesting stages, everything you need in the moon guide. Just sign up, just do it. Okay, so those were some shameless plugs, but I just feel the need every single time we have a new month. I just feel the need to give the rundown so that I'm not, getting emails or DMs throughout the month asking what's going on today. I feel crazy. What's going on in the cosmos? Like, all the content, all the information you need is there. Most of it is for free. Please just sign up to the energy guide at least and stay informed and stay ahead of the game. So with that being said, with that homework out of the way, I would like to jump into the ascension symptoms that we can expect to experience as we move throughout the week and cover that before I 100% lose my voice. Okay, so keep in mind, we have a whole bunch of solar activity popping off right now that will likely land here on Sunday. And normally speaking, when the Schumann resonance is popping off, when we get alerts of solar flares and solar winds coming hot and heavy into our cosmos, it usually aligns with planetary energies. And on Sunday, we have Mercury going direct. We also have the first quarter moon taking place. It's an action point. It's an energy point. So it does kind of make sense that the energy that they're projecting, floating through the cosmos right now will be heading on Sunday. Now we can expect to have a lot of physical signs and symptoms of that energy coming in on Sunday. Granted, what are we going to be feeling? Well, when we take a look at the fact that Mercury is going direct in Virgo energy, which is its place of power, we have to understand that, first of all, it's an earth energy. So we're likely going to be feeling it in our physical body with aches, with pains, with cracking, with popping. But it's also ruled over by Mercury, mental plane. And we would expect that there's going to be head pressure, sinus pressure, dizziness, a lot of pressure coming in from the cosmos into our crown, into the top of the head. Now, because we are in a direct opposition to Neptune, who kind of is, creating a lot of fog. So usually when Mercury goes direct, we expect for things to be clear and we can make sense of things and we're moving forward. Well, that's not quite the case. This time around, we won't be feeling that clarity until technically Mercury moves into Libra. But what we know is that having this opposition to Neptune is likely going to make us highly emotional, highly irrational. We're in Libra season where we should be attempting to get our heart and our head on the same page. But when our emotions are hypersensitive and overwhelming and semi-irrational, and our mental plane is not moving in a forward motion and is kind of jumping all around and is not focused on the direction of clarity that we were hoping for, what we can get is a lot of inner conflict where there's a tug of war, where we feel this urgency to move forward, this impulse to move forward, to fix things, to communicate, but yet we're having a hard time even expressing our thoughts and our emotions outside of us because this Neptune energy has us so overwhelmed, we don't know if we're coming or going. Now, with this, we're also going to likely experience temperature fluctuations. I feel like we will be running on the cold side of things. And again, because we're in Libra season and the goal is to achieve balance and wholeness, We have to experience the extremes of that. So you may have one foot that is burning right off of you while the other foot is freezing. You may have, one hand that has tingling sensations and warming sensations while the other hand is kind of shriveling up because it's cold and it can't, seem to keep the warmth in it. Again, it's important to pay attention to what side of your body the heat and the colds are kind of coming alive in. That's a huge indicator on where the blockages are in our physical body and in our energy bodies. We want to pay attention to just where it is that we are feeling division in our body, where it is that we're feeling the extremes in our body. Now, like I had mentioned, the Libra season energy is supposed to show us where peace is needed. But how do we find peace? Well, we sit and we really take a look at what it is that we're having a hard time coming to terms with and making peace with. Now, does it feel good to struggle with coming to terms with some situations and circumstances? Absolutely not. But we have to understand that it is our soul's mission in order to accept responsibility that our higher selves wrote these soul contracts, wrote this divine script that we are currently living out here on earth in order for us to reach our most potential, our most evolvement. So that means that, let's say, for instance, we're struggling because we just had a relationship totally F us over, really create a lot of pain, really create a lot of trauma. Many of us would be obsessed over that. Many of us would just be looping conversations, situations over and over again in our headspace, reviewing, trying to see where things went wrong or to see where, we were blinded by love or whatever the case may be. Well, we may have some pretty negative feelings towards that particular individual and blame that individual for the harm, for the lies, for the betrayal, for the hurt, whatever the case may be. When you are able to align with the higher self, you will recognize that before you entered into this meat suit, you recognized the want, need, and desire in order for you to reach your highest potential. And in doing so, you wrote this beautiful, damaging, destructive relationship for you. And you went to the soul of this person and you said, hey, I'm going to need you to cross my path at this particular point of my life. And I'm going to need you to teach me these lessons and hurt me in this way. And the other soul said, yep, sure, no problem. I will play that role for you, no problem. So when we're able to see that we are merely playing out a script here in our meat suits, in our physical realms, that our higher self has divinely scripted for us in order to push us into our greatest strength and power, then we can actually have the attitude of gratitude towards the people that we see as the evildoers, because they are teaching us a very valuable lesson in our life, in our soul's evolvement. The minute that you can flip the script, the minute that you can change it up, reframe it in your psyche, the minute you let go of the heavier emotions and become a little bit more into the alignment of acceptance, of making peace with it. And when you do that, not only do you remove a lot of the lower vibrations and frequencies of the emotional trauma in which you think that you should be carrying for the rest of your life because it shaped you and changed your life and made you the victim and hurt your feelings and blah, 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 blah. The minute that you let that go and you rewrite it and you reframe it and you accept it and integrate it as part of your higher self experience is the minute that you release those energies and create a space for new higher vibrations and frequencies to actually take over your physical body. The more we purge the lower vibrations and frequencies of our emotional realm out of our physical body, the less pain and dysfunction we will be in when these ascension symptoms actually hit us. So there's this essence in Libra season where we have to find peace within some of the karmic circumstances that absolutely suck. And that's how we can do it, by elevating ourselves to the highest potential of our soul's observing lens and recognize that we wrote the script for ourselves. And then we can say, okay, well, why did I write this for myself? What was I trying to teach myself? What was I supposed to learn? And then suddenly it becomes a little bit of a remembrance of why we're here, why we're living out this life, this identity, this persona, why we're choosing the people that we're choosing, why they've agreed to play these particular roles in our life. And everything just seems to be a little bit more easier to accept and swallow when we have that spiritual understanding. So that's about the peace part. Now, of course, we're trying to achieve balance. We're trying to achieve stability in our lives. But how do we do that? Well, we have to recognize where it is that stability and balance are non-existent. We experience the extremes of life, the chaos, the confusion, in order for us to recognize what would be a good compromise, what would be a good common ground, what would be a better situation. Provide me with a little bit more safety, security, stability, and balance in life. And then we actively try to align with that vibration and frequency. So because balance is the key here, you might find that physically speaking, you are out of balance. Maybe you're tripping over your own feet. Maybe you're dizzy. Maybe the world is spinning for you. Maybe you're having a hard time, actively engaging your feet when they're supposed to be one foot in front of the other. There's silly little accidents that can take place during these energy shifts, and any kind of accident or any hurt or any pain that you are experiencing in your physical body always has a lesson behind it. I have a client who has been against my own recommendation through the month of September, because September was not a month that we were supposed to be productive and push through and make major changes in life. We were kind of at the mercy of the cosmos and doing an inner reflection because of all of these retrograde planets. So we were supposed to be like taking it easy. We were supposed to be resting. And against my recommendation, I have this one client who decided that she was not going to take it easy. She was not going to rest. She was not going to let the universe, guide her. She was going to push for what it is that she wanted, and she was going to make things happen. And that lasted for maybe about 2 weeks until she tripped over her feet on the last 2 bottoms of the stairs. She tripped over it, twisted her ankle, fell, hit her head, got a concussion, laying down, wondering, oh my goodness, how am I going to complete all of the commitments that I've made? I have so much to do. I can't afford to do this. She thought she broke her ankle, so off to the emergency she goes. Lucky for her, it was just a very bad sprain. Yes, she had a concussion, so now she's kind of debilitated. She had to slow down. She had to take it easy. So when she reached out to me, and again, I come at you all with tough love. She told me of this situation and scenario, and I said, well, now what do you think this is trying to tell you? First of all, anytime that you have an injury to your feet, to your legs, that literally slow you down from moving forward, it's because you need to slow down in life. It's because you need to rest. You need to take a time out. You were advised to do so. You decided to go against that advice. So the universe is going to get you. Right? So the concussion thing, what is that trying to tell you? Well, it's trying to tell you that, first of all, you need to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings. Second of all, you need to be a little bit more aware with what it is that you are not being present about. And when you have accidents such as that, they might just be minor, they might be major. The universe is trying to tell you something, and mostly it's trying to tell you what it is that you should have chosen for yourself in the first place without needing an injury to take you out in order to give you a timeout. I always say, because I've had to learn this the hard way myself, I always say, make the time in order to take care of your body before the universe gives you no other choice but to take the rest that you need to take, and you need to repair your body from an injury, okay? Many times when you have physical injuries, physical accidents, health issues, it's because you are not doing what it is that you need to be doing by your own choice. So the universe kind of, I'm going to say, disables you for the time being in order for you to rest long enough to get into a realignment with your strength, with your ideas, with your energy, with your focus, with your passion, with your desires. You have a lot of time to think when you're laid up on the couch with an injury, right? You got a lot of time to think. You can only do anything but think at that point. And what I always say is when the universe tells us that this is a time of non-action, believe it before they really drive that life lesson home to you. So I know that was a little bit of a rant there, but stability. Pay attention to where it is that you do not feel stable in your physical body, where it is that you're having a hard time feeling, steady and sure about the foundation that you're currently standing on. And because many of us have had our foundations rocked, we are not as steady as we think we are on our feet. And therefore we're experiencing dizziness and shakiness, and we could lose our footing altogether. I just want you to kind of pay attention to the messages coming in the physical body on what it is that we should be doing for ourselves so that the universe doesn't do things to us to learn the hard way, basically. So we are going to be attempting to get our heart and our head on the same page. That likely will not happen again until Mercury has gotten out of its post-shadow period on the 17th. And on the 17th, we also have the last quarter moon in Cancer energy at 24 degrees. So we are wrapping up a particular life lesson there when it comes to the mother energy, the inner child energy, the home, the family energy, the boundary energy that we need to implement in order to provide ourselves with safety, security, and stability within our home and our family dynamics. Again, I'm hoping to have the October energy forecast coming at you sooner than later. I go in depth of all these astro points that we can plan on experiencing and what that may mean for us moving through this very transformative month. But what I would like to say is that we have a lot of truth to speak, and that truth is likely not going to be formulated or articulated as nicely as we would like until after Mercury comes out of his post-shadow period. But Libran energy, although, it rules over communication, it rules over the head space, it rules over negotiations and compromise so that we can repair and reconcile the differences within our relationships. It's also trying to get our heart and head in agreement. And our heart and head are in a disagreement right now because we're not in alignment with our truest truth. And so over the next week or so, we are definitely going to be triggered in recognizing what that truth actually means, where we have been trying to mask our emotions, where it is that we've been hiding behind certain ideas, certain thoughts, where it is that we've been running from confrontation and biting our tongue and just trying to make everybody be happy when we are suffering and dying inside. And because of that, we have a truth that is being, I'm going to say, formulated and aligned and recalibrated for us to speak. And when we talk about truth, we talk about the throat chakra. And I'm not just saying this because I've been talking nonstop for the last 3-4 days trying to make up for lost time because my voice is absolutely killing me. But our throats will likely be sore, will be dry. There will likely be an automatic clearing of the throat, constantly trying to get the phlegm out or trying to get the lump in our throat out of our throat. Again, the lump in the throat would indicate that we are choking down some emotion. And because we are not entirely honest with ourselves at this particular point in time with some of the emotions going on in our heart space, we are going to kind of carry that sensation of having a lump in our throat until we're able to cough it up, speak it out, speak our truth, let the tears flow, do whatever we need to get in alignment. But we're definitely going to be feeling the attention in our throat chakra. There is going to be this urgency, I would say, to want to move forward very quickly, to want to initiate new conversations, to bring new ideas to life, especially with the first quarter moon taking place in this Capricorn energy. Like it's all about executive decision. It's all about taking action on actually building the foundational blocks needed in order to support our long-term visions and goals. And it's also an action and urgency point because we have been running away from some of the roles and responsibilities that we know we have to boss up to, that we've been trying to put off, that we can't put off anymore because in order for us to create a different realm of reality for us to live in, it requires us to be a better version of ourselves. And every single time we level up, we have to reorganize and restructure our roles, our responsibilities, our commitments, our obligations in life. And when we talk about those types of things, we talk about Saturn, and Saturn rules over Capricorn energy, and Saturn is preparing to go direct on the 23rd of October. So there's been this, inner discovery of where it is that we haven't had strong enough boundaries in our lives, where it is that we've constantly dimmed our own light in order to make other people shine, and where it is that we've sacrificed our own wants, needs, and desires in order to do what we think other people want us to do, or what we think they expect us to do. And it's not working for us anymore, people. We are in a state right now where we have to go back to who it is that we are and be raw and vulnerable and unique as an individual. And we have to stand on our own 2 feet, not caring what other people think, in order to pursue the path that we are here to pursue, our mission, our purpose, our soul's fullest potential. But because we are in this arena right now where we know we have to boss up to new roles and responsibilities, we know we have to get to building a new foundation in our life, a new value system within ourselves, a new worth within ourselves, we are being illuminated because we're in Libran energy and everything is learned about through extremes. We are learning where we're not feeling so special. We're not feeling so unique. We're not feeling so bold and brave. We're not feeling like we want to step up to the plate to new challenges. We're not feeling like we want to be responsible and accountable for our own damn selves. And a lot of that is because the Libran energy brings us a lot of indecisiveness. So as if the choices and decisions that we currently have on our plate right now weren't enough, weren't heavy enough, weren't weighted enough. There is this unconscious back and forth that we are doing, because here's the thing. We are creatures of comfort. We want to stick to the same old because it's predictable, it's familiar, even if it's uncomfortable. We know what we can expect. And here we've been sitting in this funk of our lives, praying to whoever out there that is willing to listen and has the power to help us to manifest new circumstances in our lives, to bring us, new opportunities, new people, new situations, whatever the case may be. But yet we're still desperately holding on to the old. Why? Not because we like it, not because we want it, but because it's familiar and it's predictable. And as human beings, we really shy away from putting ourselves out there in brand new territory if we have no freaking clue what to expect. And that's realistically where we're at right now in the evolution of developing our awareness and our soul's true mission and true purpose. And, we're on the fence about everything. That's what this Libran energy is. So, 1 minute we're going to feel empowered and we're ready to boss up and we're ready to take charge. And then the next minute we're curled up in a ball crying because we just don't want to be responsible for our own lives. And I never truly understood the saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, what is the point of having a cake if you can't friggin' eat it? That makes no sense to me. But that's kind of the phrase that comes to mind, is like, you can't want change and yet have everything that stay the same. You can't want new people to enter your realm, but still engage with the crappy people that constantly hurt you and put you in a state of pain. You can't want new job opportunities to, bless you if you don't put any resumes out there. And this is kind of the energy, the flip-floppiness that we're in Libran energy. So we go to the shadow realm, we sit in the darkness, we sit in the funk, then we build ourselves up, and then we stand in the light. We're positive, we're optimistic, we're confident, and then something will happen, and then suddenly we're in that indecisive mode. Maybe we're not secure enough, maybe we're not confident enough, maybe, the doubts are getting to us, and now we're back into the shadow realm. Eventually, by the end of Libra season, we will accomplish balance. We will find a comfortable meet point between all the extremes that we're currently being torn between. I can promise you that. Virgo energy, we analyzed what it is that was broken and needed to be fixed. Libran energy, we attempt to find balance, to fix it, to restore, to repair, to reconcile. Scorpio energy, you best believe we're getting down to the deep-seated reasons of why it is that we keep blocking our blessings. We get to the deep-seated fears. We get to the deepest, darkest desires that we keep denying ourselves. This is all part of the process, but trust me when I say that we have to dabble on both sides of the fence in order to figure out what is going to be the best middle grounding point for us. So Libra season is also about relationships. And here's the thing. In Libran energy, Libras typically, you can take any Libra, they're in love with love, but they're not in love with real love. They're in love with like movie love. So there's a lot of romanticizing, and that's why a lot of Libras are disappointed when they get in relationships, because it's not the kind of love that they fantasized about, because the love that they fantasized about isn't real love. Here's the thing. We are in an energy where we should be looking at ourselves through the eyes of the relationships that we cultivate. And because we have to dabble in the extremes, many of us are feeling very lonely and isolated right now. Many of us are just craving connection, craving relationships of any kind that resembles any kind of love or any kind of intimacy. And we're really going to get deep into the intimacy, wants, needs, and desires in Scorpio energy, because that's what that's all about. But right now, we're just scratching the surface on what it is that we actually want for ourselves in regards to sharing our lives with other people. And because there is a want, need, and desire for that connection, for that relationship, for that partnership, we have to sit in the darkness of what the absence of all of that is. And that is why the collective right now is going through a very disconnected, very lonely, very isolated existence. And this is what us light workers, us sensitive people are picking up on. That's why emotions are high, loneliness is high, disconnect is high, but yet we're wearing this light and fluffy mask to say and suggest to other people that everything is A-okay. So our heart chakra is going to be on spot this week. We have Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and value and monies, in her place of power in Libran energy, trying to restore peace and balance and harmony to the heart chakra. May I remind you that we are electrical beings, and all of these, solar flares and CMEs and all of this, these light codes coming in from higher realms and from the cosmos are electrical impulses and electrical packets of information. And in our physical body, our heart is our electrical battery. That is the middle chakra that aligns our lower chakras to our higher chakras, that aligns our earthly experience with our divine higher self experience. And so when the energy is palpable, when we're getting a lot of energy coming in, electromagnetic frequencies, when there is a lot of astrological shifts, that is electrical pulses that, of course, we are going to feel in our heart space. That is our electrical regulator. That is our battery. You have the power to regulate the amount of electricity coming in and out of your bodies. You have to visualize it like a dial. You have to move in and say, no, 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 no. My heart is racing right now. My heart is pounding right now. I got to slow this beast down. And you have to go into your energy centers, your chakras, if you will, and visualize a dial and visualize your higher self, your energetic self, turning that dial down to a comfortable pace, to a comfortable beat. Now, granted, you can't always turn it down. Sometimes you need it to pound out of your chest in order for you to have a breakdown and get those emotions that are trapped into your heart chakra out. This is part of, the healing work, is allowing the energy to take you to a breaking point so that you can have this breakdown, so you can put yourself back together in a better way. We got to get real with ourselves. We got to get raw with ourselves. We got to get vulnerable with ourselves. Venus in Libra loves love. She loves herself. She loves other people. She loves the smaller things in life. She wants to do things that bring a smile to her face and a warmth to her heart. She wants to dive into the joy, the happiness, the pleasure of life. But many of us are so freaking guarded when it comes to our heart space because we got hurt in the past. We build these tall, thick walls up around our heart space thinking that we're protecting ourselves from getting hurt again when all we're doing is creating a prison for us to be stuck in. You cannot connect with people in life with a guard around your heart. You cannot expect the creativity to flow through you with a guard around your heart. You cannot expect to be happy and loving and playful with a guard around your heart. It's time for this heart chakra crap to actually be brought into the forefront of your attention and ask yourself what it is that you're scared of. Well, everybody's scared of getting hurt, but guess what? That's what we're here as humans to do, is to get hurt, to experience the lower vibrational pains and frequencies and fears of this earthly realm. Why? Because we're unconditional love. When we leave these meat suits, we go back to source, which is unconditional love. Let me tell you that your higher self has divinely scripted this particular life path for you with the pain and the trauma included in order to push you into your power. All you're doing by guarding your heart and keeping you stuck into a prison of disconnection, of unaligned creativity, of lower vibrations and frequencies is all you're doing is you're wasting this opportunity here on earth to actually be pushed into your soul's highest potential. Your higher self is going to kick your energetic soul ass when you get back into source and you review your life and you realize that you wasted a huge chunk of your life because you were afraid of having your feelings hurt. Okay. So as we get closer to this full moon in Aries, that needs us to recognize the pain and the trauma and the anger and the frustration and the irritability that comes with not feeling like we're making as much progress, like we're not in control of our lives. You have to let that hurt your heart in order for you to be raw and vulnerable to truly express the emotions, the blockages that are stuck in your heart chakra. Get that shit out, clear it out, purge it, clean the slate. We have some intense situations coming at us in eclipse season that your heart is going to want to be wide open in order to receive. And trust me, when there is walls around your heart space, when opportunities, when rewards, when blessings come into your life, they bounce off of those walls. It never gets to reach your heart space. So it's time for us to boss up into new roles and responsibilities of taking care of our energetic centers, starting with our heart chakra. So we are going to be feeling a huge emphasis on our heart space as we move throughout this week. Pay attention to your lower back. Sciatica could kick in. Maybe you have some rigidity in your hips. Maybe it's hard to sit down because your tailbone is aching. The bottom of your spine will hold a lot of tension in your hips, in your upper thighs, because Pluto is about to go direct. There's a lot of intensity being stored in our lower chakra. That is survival. We need to understand there's a certain point that we have to give ourselves permission to move out of survival mode and move into thriver mode. Pluto wants us to step into our power. Pluto wants us to take control of our lives. Pluto wants us to align with our authority, with our sovereignty, with our individuality, to be accountable and responsible for the comings and goings of our life. And because that is a big ask, a big karmic jump for us to make, we're holding a lot of tension in our lower spine. Why? Because we've just been trying to float through life. What would our life be if we actually had to be accountable and responsible for our actions? Right? There's a lot of power coming up with Pluto because he is about transformation. And right now we're getting leg locked, if you will, from the hips all the way down to our feet because we've been in a stagnant state of paralysis, not being able to take action. And now we're on the cusp of being able to take action and our legs are just not stable enough. They're not in alignment with each other. It's almost like we are at the beginning of the race, waiting for that gun to go off, but we're getting jittery, thinking that it's going to go off and we're going to miss our time to actually leave the point that we need to leave to enter the race. And so we're unstable and we're rigid and we're holding all of this tension in our lower extremities because we're afraid of having to take a huge jump, a huge leap forward in taking control of our lives. The veil is thinning, and as we get closer to Halloween, it will be damn near non-existent at that point. And the veil thinning between dimensions means that we are back to picking up on sensory situations that are not happening here in this physical realm. You may hear humming, you may hear singing, you may hear somebody talking, you may hear music, you may hear sirens, you may hear beeping. They are not coming from this physical realm. This is an interdimensional bleed, an intergalactic layover, if you will. And we are picking up on vibrations and frequencies that technically do not originate from this physical realm. With that, we are going to be picking up on sunspots in our vision, orbs in our peripherals, little just specks of light that we have to really question. Are we having a brain aneurysm? Is this my brain exploding, or is this really happening to me in my life? The answer is it's happening to you. There is again, an overlap of dimensions, meaning that the veil is thinning, meaning that our physical eyes and ears are able to pick up on the light and sound spectrum that we are humanly not supposed to pick up on. This is where our extrasensory abilities come in, and we are going to be definitely picking up on otherworldly signs and sounds. So thirst is going to be a big thing, mostly just because we have all this pressure taking place in our throat chakra. So we want to make sure that we are staying hydrated. We want to also take into consideration that Libran energy does rule over the two parts of self. And, we have two lovely kidneys that we have to keep moving at a very healthy rate. We have to keep them clear, and we can do that by keeping them flushed out with hydration, with water. I also want to just bring up the fact that we're going to be kind of experiencing that funky film in our mouth again, in our around our teeth, like our teeth are wearing sweaters again. But our tongue has this like funky film on it. And you may even have like little bumpies on your tongue, or in your inner lips, or, on your gums type of thing. We're really feeling a lot of fire in our mouths because of the blockage that we're experiencing in our throat chakras. And so the energy is building there, and we do have to just kind of expect that there be a change in our oral hygiene, I would say. And the bumpies are little, I'm going to say, eruptions of where it is that the energy is currently being blocked in our throats. The last thing that I want to talk about is our solar plexus. So your solar plexus is right below your rib cage in the center of your body, and the solar plexus sits right below your heart chakra and right above your sacral chakra. And your sacral is about creation, and your heart chakra, as we know, is about love and unity and fairness, and ignites and binds, if you will, the energy from the lower and the upper chakras. But the solar plexus is our will. It is our life force energy. It is the direction that we need to be pursuing. And because we're going through a change of, I'm going to say, identity, and a change of passion, a change of desires, a change of direction, we are having a little bit of a recalibration issue going on with the solar plexus. And because of this, you could have acid reflux, you could have bubble guts. I know we just got out of Virgo season, which was huge on the digestive tract. This isn't so much a digestive situation. This is like pressure right below the ribs. Almost like sometimes, you get an air bubble under there and you got to like poke your fingers in underneath your ribs in order to get that air moving. That would be a solar plexus issue. That's the physical manifestation that we can kind of expect from our solar plexus getting an upgrade and going through a recalibration and a realignment. And I just wanted you to be aware that this could present itself in the front of your body, underneath your rib cage, or it could manifest in the middle of your back and maybe need your back to be extended, your back to be cracked, if you will. Keep in mind that your back constantly needs to be flexible and stretched out, because that's Jacob's ladder. Those are the 33 vertebrae that your let's call it spiritual fluid in your spinal column needs to come up and move very fluidly and easily through each of the vertebrae in order to actually hit your crown, your head, and open that third eye up even more. It's a whole physiological and biological, energetical and spiritual process that we go through. But we, as operators of the physical meat suit, we have to do what we need to do in order to keep those channels open, those meridians open, so that, we're not feeling as much pain and discomfort and anguish as we could be feeling if we don't do the work to keep our physical body and our energetic body as clean and as light as possible. So guys, that's all that I have for you this week. I want to thank you so much for being here, for spending your time with me, for tuning in, for commenting, for liking, for sharing. I want to thank you for the love that you constantly give my way. Let me tell you, I feel it each and every single day. I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your understanding over this past week and my whole, hurricane, no power, kind of lagging behind my to-do list type of situation. And I want to thank you so much for continuously showing me the love, the encouragement, the validation, and the support to continue to do what it is that I do. So I hope you have a beautiful week. I hope we just bust into October with as much passion, as much intensity, as much positive optimism as we could possibly hold in our bodies, because things are about to get super intense. They're about to get very real, and they're definitely going to provide us with the opportunities for change that we've been hoping and praying for. I hope you have a beautiful week. I'm sending you so much love, and we'll talk to you soon.